listening to Filling the Storehouse podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Stuart. And we want to walk with you on the journey to living the abundant life through faith, family, and freedom. Our goal is to refine our why while helping you find yours. Together, achieve our best and highest purpose. In the end, we'll drive each other to intentionally fill our storehouse.
There's more potential today than at any point in history, and there are more self-help resources, parenting books, phones with unlimited capacity, and literal libraries at our fingertips, too. And we also have more quote-unquote friends, connections, followers, or whatever you want to call the photographs staring back at us through the screen than ever before in history. Yet every single day, we miss another opportunity to turn all that potential into kinetic action that drives us towards our highest and best. And we are lonelier than ever before.
Yeah, man. When we analyzed our own lives, we realized that we needed more fellowship, more connectedness, more community, like real friends, not just like our Facebook friends. And we're surrounded by an amazing network. Like we have an amazing group of men and women that are in our lives, but we still desired to be a part of a thriving community. So we knew other men felt the same way.
And with that gap that we identified, the Storehouse Mastermind was born, and we built a community of men striving to become the best husbands, the best fathers, friends, and leaders possible. And the best part is that in this mastermind, you'll be significantly challenged by the curriculum, but even more so by the exceptional group of amazing men walking with you on your journey.
Yeah, so go to our new website, storehouse310.com. There's a mastermind tab on there. Go to that immediately. Click the join now button. And we look forward to having you in the Storehouse Mastermind to grow and serve together. What's up, dude? How's it going?
What's up? What's up, my dumb dude? Oh, wait. Is this a dumb dude?
No, this is not a dumb dude's episode.
Oh, man. It just felt so natural.
So I'm not dumb today.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if that's actually an accurate statement, but I mean, we can go with it. That's fine. We can go with it.
I'm sporting a new Storehouse hat today, going with a new color. You like it?
I do. Yeah. That other one was disgusting.
Yeah. It was getting pretty
it had
nasty.
Like the sweat stains and
yeah.
I mean, you literally, like every time I looked at you in that hat, I felt like I could smell you through a Zoom. That's how nasty that hat was.
Dude, it was just, I was working in it, man. I was mowing the lawn and fishing and, hanging out. It's starting to get hot outside. So I sweat a lot.
Yeah, but you've had that hat for a while. It wasn't hot. It just got hot. You've been rocking that nasty thing for probably 8 months. And no, but that's why I have like a workout hat. I have like a lawn hat, a fishing hat, because they get nasty, but I like to, and then I have a crisp hat.
A what?
A crisp hat. Just, it's crisp. It's nice. It's clean.
Oh,
clean,
crisp.
A crispy clean.
So fresh and so clean.
Hat. So fresh and so clean. Let's talk about hats. That's what we should talk about the whole time.
Yeah. I know I saw a post that you did the other day on Facebook, which is amazing to me. You actually posted on Facebook about making your kids do push-ups and some eye rolls and things like that. What was going on there?
Yeah, so my kids have been doing push-ups for years. They and I wanted to change the rules a bit because the lip is getting a little bit out of control. The whining is getting out of control. So I wanted to add some new categories. And but in order to add categories, because it used to be just touching, right? Like you hit your brother, you hit your sister, you touch, you just get on your face and start pushing. And it was 10, right? It's no big deal, which is hilarious because all my kids can pump out, they could probably pump out 30 to 50. That's not bragging in any way. That's because they're so terrible that they've been doing push-ups for years.
Push-ups like every day.
Oh, dude, they averaged, I think yesterday they probably averaged. Even Maya, I think she got about 30 yesterday, which is pretty high for her.
Yeah.
She's been running that lip a little bit now that she's, preteen.
Like preteen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then the boys, they just get them all day. But anyways, 10 was like, if I make them do it as a punishment, quote unquote punishment, I think it's an opportunity to get better. They cry. It's like the worst thing in the world, even though they could do 5 times that many. very easily they're crying, oh my gosh, 10 push-ups. And I just sat down and said, hey, I want to address some of these behaviors I'm noticing. And I think we need to bump it up to 15 because 10 clearly isn't making an impact. And I think we need to do burpees. That's what really needs to happen.
Yeah, dude. I had a buddy when we were stationed in Italy together. He would make his kids do burpees.
Yeah, I think burpees is what I need to move to burpees, I think. So I think maybe I'll just go to 10 burpees for touching, 10 for lip, and then 5 for whining is what we threw in there. So actually you stack them. So when they get their 15 push-ups, if they whine about the 15, then they're at 20. And that can continue to stack and get you in a pretty good hole. Anyways, that was the we decided to go 15 push-ups for touching, 10 for talking disrespectfully, and then 5 for any kind of whinage. And I think the 5s are actually going to be substantially more. They're going to build up a lot. Whines, I believe.
About the eye rolls. About the eye rolls.
Jake, I don't know what that was, man. Jake's like, well, Dad, what about eye rolls? And I was like, eye rolls? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, and he's did this prolonged, like really giant eye roll. And I'm like, you don't even roll your eyes, but okay, explain to me what this is about. And so he said that we should do push-ups for eye rolls. And then Noah did his version of an eye roll, which was absolutely classic, man. I was dying laughing, and I'm so glad he did it. Normally when he does something like that, he won't do it again for me to record it. But he did that time, and it cracked me up. So, but I'm thinking about, have you ever heard what is it? I think Scotty was here yesterday. He goes, dude, you should do it's like the love shirt or the brother shirt or the friend shirt or something like that. And basically you put both kids just in a big shirt.
In one shirt,
and then they have to figure it out. They have to get along. But I did do that one time. That was a dad fail. It was so bad. Like they were so close and just fighting in this shirt. I just put one of my V-neck shirts on them.
It was like super tight on.
Oh, dude, they hated it. It was, I was dying laughing. They were like in distress. They were just so mad. And Erica was not in the place I was. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. We should do this.
Yeah.
But she wasn't a fan. So
as a transition to what we're talking about today a little bit, you and I are always on the search for figuring out how to be better dads. Right. And so we've decided to surround ourselves with some other men in our lives that may have some older kids and have potentially figured this out. Maybe not, but at least we have some other dudes to hang out with and throw ideas off of. So we can throw this idea out to our mastermind group and ask about, the t-shirt idea and the burpees versus push-ups.
Well, and I don't think anybody's figured it out, because if you figure it out, you'd be a multi-billionaire at this point. But I think what we're super excited about is we've been developing this mastermind over the last 10 months. I think you and I started talking about it, close to a year ago, 10 months ago, and really trying to figure out what we had to identify what the problem was, which we'll get to. And we had to identify what we believe solutions were. And then we really had to build around not only creating value, but also finding the right people to kind of run this by. And that's where we're at now. And so we created the Storehouse Mastermind. We've been running with a group of men since January, February timeframe.
Yeah, about February, I think. Yeah,
and it's been absolutely incredible. And when we really started thinking about it, our first question was, why a mastermind? Why is this tool, why is this mechanism something that we believe to be very effective in achieving the outcomes that we want to achieve through the fellowship and the community that we wanted to build? So why a mastermind, Stu?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've, ask us that question, I don't know, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I think both of us were in a position and had a mindset that you'd ask us that and we'd be like, no, I'm not going to pay money to be a part of a group that, just like hangs out and talks and, maybe like holds each other accountable to some things. But I think, over time we quickly saw the power of a mastermind. We've joined a few now. I helped start a mastermind a couple of years ago. This was solely focused on real estate, solely focused on military veterans. And then you and I decided to join a pretty high level mastermind group that was, again, solely focused on real estate investing. And then we've joined a few since then, just to kind of figure out like what we need, what we want, what we're looking for. And there's so many benefits that we've figured out over time by joining a mastermind. Just the community, the fellowship, the growth, the accountability. It really just totally can transform the way you work, you act, you live life. So it's been pretty powerful for us, but we haven't truly found what we've been really looking for yet.
Yeah. And I think there's been a lot of elements that we've really appreciated over the years of groups we've been part of. There's been ones that are very focused on business, like you said, and we did learn about business principles, and we even had some deals come out of those. And that's the thing, right? You surround yourself with a group and a community, you're typically going to get what you're looking for. Yeah. Assuming that you did some due diligence and you didn't necessarily buy, like, it wasn't a guru that's like, hey, we're going to make you a millionaire tomorrow, and you plugged into that. I mean, that's there are good and there are bads. But if you really do due diligence and you surround yourself by people that you want to, that challenge you to be better, those groups are invaluable. They're extremely powerful. And I think that, as we did those, I'm extremely grateful for the ones that we've been part of. And really now we're part of two. One you started, and then the other one is Life in Air. And we've really appreciated that group for what it offers, because there's a lot of clarity with surrounding ourselves with people that are focused on living, the Life in Air life. But there was still something that you and I really wanted. We recognized, and when we were assessing what we wanted our highest and best, our personal highest and best to look like, we realized that there's a value of starting our own community of men focused on growing together and focused on growing in ways that we wanted to grow. And I think it was a turning point for both of us to really lay that stuff out and say, okay, well, I specifically want to be better in these areas. Should we go look for a group that we can also supplement the other groups that we're part of to really drive this home and help us to focus on this? Or do we start our own and just in good, David and Stuart fashion, we're like, let's just start our own. Yeah. It's probably easier, and we'll enjoy it because of the leadership element. And so as we assess this, we had to make a decision too. Is this a mastermind, or is this a men's group? Is this like a men's church group? And I think that when we really spent time assessing it, we realized that we love not only being part of a community, but we love building communities. And we knew that there was a huge advantage in this being a mastermind, which is going to be, there's a pay for element, but we recognize that as a men's group, it's more voluntary, that we were going to be doing all the things that we're going to be doing. And then we would try to fit our volunteer hours into a men's group. And for us, we realized that we wanted to be fully committed to this mastermind, that we wanted to build something, and that there was extreme value and huge advantages if we were completely dedicated to adding value to a mastermind instead of, volunteering with a men's group.
Yeah. There's something interesting that happens, and there's a complete mindset shift when something goes from free to something that like you have to pay for, and your level of commitment completely changes once you start paying for something. And that's what we wanted. That's what we desired. We have showed up to things in the past that were free. And what you end up finding is, there might be a good group of people that will meet it first. That starts to like whittle out, and one drops off, another drops off, and you end up, are left with just a few people like hanging out, and there's no commitment to it. And so, free immediately will kind of lower that commitment and that base entry for people to show up every single, week, day, month, whatever the requirement is. And so for you and I, we really wanted to have something where men are going to be committed to growing and to making each other better. And that starts with, we always say, show up with your checkbook and your calendar. And both of these are requirements for this group. You got to show up with your checkbook, and you got to show up with your calendar and commit to growing together. So,
yeah. And I think there's also an element for you and I, right? Yeah. It's not just the members, but the reality is that a men's group from the leader perspective is also typically volunteer driven, which means that, you and I can only expect to give the time between our other commitments, right? Those things that we have to do to provide for our families. And from our perspective, we really wanted this mastermind to be a primary commitment because we're so passionate about these areas that we identified for ourselves. We're so passionate about seeing other men grow into who God truly created them to be, who are men who are focused on their marriages, on their children, on their friendships, and leadership, and also fun, right? And these are kind of the primary pillars, the areas that we recognize that we wanted personal growth. But we're also, as we started really developing the program and getting these men together and talking through some of these things that we've been working on, we realized that we're super passionate about it. And it's not because of, we're leading it per se. We just created the venue and we created the opportunity for these amazing individuals to come together. And then the magic started happening.
Yeah.
Right. It just amazing, incredible things started happening between these men who are creating relationships with each other that they never would have spoken if it wasn't for a forum and an opportunity for them to come together as a group, that's where the real power is at. Yeah. And it was it's been incredible to see. And now looking forward, I just can't imagine where we're going to be, that group's going to be a year from now.
Yeah.
And it's super exciting to consider and to, it really drives and motivates you and me giving our time to really building this thing out, which is really cool. And so on that point, you and I sat back and assessed that there are issues.
Yep.
And what are some of these issues that we wanted to address?
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I feel that you and I have a really good network, an amazing network of men and women that are successful, that are high achievers, that are crushing it in whatever field they have. Leaders in the military, CEOs, entrepreneurs, starting their own businesses, writing books. All these different fields of people that are within our network, but we still like found ourselves like wanting connectedness, wanting fellowship and like hanging out, right? Like hugging and high-fiving and going and doing cool and fun things together and doing adventures together. And if you and I feel that way with a pretty amazing network that we have, like there's got to be other men that have that same feeling that are losing, that don't have that, right? And so I think that's kind of where we started. We analyzed with like what we feel that we're missing in our lives, as 40-year-old dudes with families and kids. And, we're so focused on careers and success and families and providing. But we start to lose focus on some of the other stuff. And that's the stuff that I think we're both needing.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because, and I hadn't really thought about this before, but as we spent our time and effort diving into some of these things and how we felt, right. And how we personally felt that we were not necessarily being fed completely in the ways that we wanted to be fed. We got on this idea of energy and through a really good conversation we had in the mastermind group and the importance of energy and the difference between potential, you and I started talking about potential energy and kinetic energy, and how there's all this potential and what potential energy is and how it converts to kinetic energy through action and applying things. And it was, I think recently we were talking about that. There's just so much potential today, more potential today than at any point in history, right? You have these,
dude.
I mean, there's thousands, millions of self-help books out there that you can get your hands on for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to the library and you could pick any number that's focused, is develop everything from parenthood to marriage to leadership to, singing or whatever it is. There's just the millions of self-help books out there. There's parenting books, and then there's these phones with unlimited capacity, and you could get on Google and to your heart's content. And a lot of us do this. You could lose entire days, weeks, years of life just right here, 3 inches, 4 inches from your face, because there's just so much information out there, and it's all at your fingertips. And the capacity is, I mean, it's literal libraries at your fingertips.
Yeah. And all your friends that you have on
oh my gosh,
your phone, right? Like,
we have so many friends. We have, and this is in quotes, friends and connections and followers and whatever you want to call those, the pictures on the profile pages of these people, whether it's friends or whatever you want to call them. We have more of these things staring back at us than ever before. And thousands of, people believe they have thousands of friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that their Instagram followers actually have a true interest in their life. And fortunately, that's not true. And we have all this stuff, and every day we have all these opportunities to turn our potential into kinetic energy, and through action that drives us towards our highest and best. And yet we miss those opportunities. And most of us, I don't think, would characterize ourselves as kinetic men and women, people in action, people that are achieving our purposes. And the other side of that is we also have a loneliness epidemic. Yeah. With all these friends we have on Facebook, we're still so lonely. And I think that paradox really struck you and I, and we're like, man, what can we do about this? How can we offer true, and I'll be completely honest, in a selfish way, how can we offer ourselves an opportunity to have true fellowship and create a community that really thrives and feeds us in the ways that we want to be fed? And so that was a lot of that was the genesis of the Storehouse Mastermind. And it was through a desire to act and to create this thing. And really the desire is for growth and connection, right? You and I really want growth, and we really want connection. And so the Storehouse Mastermind was that's what it was born out of.
Yeah. Yeah. There's there's this saying that I hear a lot in the military, and it says, it's lonely at the top. And, I thought about that a lot, and it's kind of true, a lot in the military, as you gain rank and you kind of grow up the chain of command and you become, a leader, you're the commanding officer. There's not a ton of other commanding officers to like hang out with and talk about your problems and your issues. And so that's part of it, right? Like we needed other men in our lives that are kind of on a similar level of trying to figure out their highest and best. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been figuring out what we're desiring, what we're needing in our lives. And we went out and found a group of men that has similar passions and goals and is desiring that same thing. And so for the last 10 months, we've been kind of creating this community of the Storehouse Mastermind. So, what does that consist of? How do we even start putting it together?
Yeah, man. And I think we didn't want to shortchange this. We didn't want it to be something that we're like, hey, go out to our network and say, we're starting a Storehouse Mastermind. Come join us. Like, it wasn't about, and I think what I love about what we did is not I think, I know what I love about what we did is that we wanted to be extremely prayerful. We wanted to be diligent. We want to be very thoughtful in creating value.
Yeah.
And I think we recognized that for us, this would be critical to our growth, and it would feed us in ways that were unachievable outside of a community. And so I'm quite frankly, I'm proud of the efforts we put towards trying to be outward focused in the creation of the mastermind, because I think there's a lot of opportunities out there where people are feeding their own egos and there's more selfish ambition. And not that it's completely, we're two dudes, right? Like, it's not completely, our efforts are completely devoid of that. But I truly believe that we're so focused on creating value for other men to be their highest and best that it started to formulate around a curriculum, and it started to formulate around ideas of activities, and it was really solidified though when we got this group of dudes that we are super high performing. We respect the heck out of them. It's an amazing group of dudes. We brought them together as like the beta, and then we started seeing the growth, and we started seeing the connection. We started seeing, the fruit of those labors, the fruit of that thought, the fruit of those prayers, and also, excuse me, the fruit of taking action and building it. Because they all could have said no, and it could have been, a flaming mess, but that's not what happened. Because I do believe all the thought we put into this, we recognize there is a true need for this type of fellowship and community. And it's just been very validating that these men have come in and you're seeing growth every single week, which has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these guys, like, some of the stuff that we wanted these men to come into with this idea and this mindset of like, hey, we're going to be continuously self-reflecting on what's going on in our lives. We're going to be vulnerable. We're going to continue to grow our mindset. We're going to take action, and we're going to discover and honor like our unique abilities and truly find our highest priorities and like take action on those things. And by the way, we're going to have a whole lot of fun doing it too, because I feel like a lot of men in our 40s, 30s, whatever age, we get into this like place where we don't even know how to have fun anymore. Like, I guarantee you, if you go out to, a bunch of dudes and you ask them like, hey man, what do you do for fun? And they probably can't answer it. Right.
Someone will say something like work. I work for fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
I work for fun.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So what we did, we started, like you said, in February-ish, and we got a group of men together, and we just started having, these calls where it's a diverse group of men, military guys, non-military guys. One lives in Hawaii, one lives in Europe, one lives, us here, we have guys all over the States, in different locations, and around the world. And we started coming together, and the idea is to strive to be the best husbands, the best dads, the best friends, the best businessmen, the best leaders. And we have weekly discussions on Zoom call, because we're all over the place, with the intention that we will be getting together in person, to dive more into those relationships and to have fellowship with each other and have fun doing it. And so we built out a curriculum. We're focused on what we feel is 10 critical areas of life. We're calling it the Kinetic Life Circle, based off of being a kinetic man. And yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, it's been great. And I think the cool part about it, you highlight, there's dudes all over the world, and we're meeting on Tuesdays in the middle of the, for us, it's the middle of the morning. We're going to jump on a call here in about 40 minutes, but they've been showing up.
Yeah.
And that's been the awesome part. That's the true measure is people are going to always say, I mean, especially these guys, like, they're friends of ours, and actually they're very honest. So they will give us very, very real feedback, but most of the time they'll be like, hey, this has been great. This has been, whatever it is, whatever the complimentary way to describe it. But the true measure is, do you show up? Do you show up? And what's been great is that these men from all over the world have been showing up every single week, which is that's a pretty heavy ask, but yeah, they recognize the impact. They recognize the power. And it's been awesome. And there's been tears, there's been laughter, there's been everything in between. It's been an incredible meeting of these guys. And I have learned so much. Every single week I come out of there and I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. That is life-changing.
Yeah, it's literally like the best hour of my week. Like there's so many things, dude. Like, and we won't throw out names, but one man said to another man in our call, he said, "What you posted in our community the other day changed my life." And like you and I had really nothing to do with that. I mean, we obviously kind of put the group together and we had, kind of the guided conversation, but another man who we didn't ask to do this, posted something in our community. We have an online community that's not Facebook. It's not anything. It's a separate community where we can post stuff in forums. And what he posted changed this other man's life. And he told that to him on our call. And dude, that's powerful right there.
Yeah.
That's powerful right there. And so that's the stuff that's happening in this community that we've been meeting. And, there's some power behind a group of dudes getting together with the same mindset for growth and wanting to be better husbands and dads and friends and leaders. And something magical happens when you put all of us into a room and hold each other accountable and be vulnerable. Like you said, laugh, cry, and everything in between. It's been cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's cool because we're all on our own path, right? We're all seeking, we all have individual paths that we're taking, but I think, as you said, there's, our travel companions on that journey and our community. They provide the strength, they provide clarity and drive that is really impossible to replicate outside of a group. It's impossible to replicate on your own unless you're an extremely special, highly disciplined, extremely introverted individual who is not built for fellowship or any kind of community, right? And most of us, I mean, that just isn't really a thing for the vast majority of people. But I think it helps us to recapture what many of us have lost, and that's also, like you said, it's intentional fun with other men. Yeah. Super excited about September coming up. We're gonna have our first in-person meeting, and dude, it's gonna be amazing. It's going to be it's whatever it is that we choose to do and outside and just being together, the conversations. I can't even anticipate what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be special.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I wanted to hit on the 10 critical areas that we kind of came up with that we're focusing on. First, we dive into some pretty deep questions about, purpose, what your why really is. We go into, we have homework. There's homework, by the way. So be prepared for some homework, but we're going to be diving into your faith, to your family, to your friends, fun, health, finance, purpose, giving, romance, and mindset. Those are the 10 critical areas that we came up with. And we're going to dive deep into every single one of them. And do you want to talk about the real concept that we also kind of came up with?
Yeah, it's, one of the cool things about going and looking at real estate that's a 2-hour drive away and 2 hours back is we had a lot of time to really formulate these thoughts. And the real concept is something that we came up with it breaks down each of the weeks. So if real has 4 letters, there's typically 4 weeks in a month, and the R is reflect. So we're going to take these topics, some of them that Stu just mentioned, and we're going to reflect on them as a group, because what's really cool about this group in particular is we ask a lot of questions. We're not coming in presuming to know any answers. So we're asking a lot of questions of highly capable group of individuals, and we reflect on these questions, and what comes out of it is, I mean, it's gold. It's pure gold. And so that first week, we're going to really reflect on whatever the topic of conversation is. The following week, the E in real, we're going to execute. Because, it's fun to talk about stuff. And Stu and I always mention in these podcasts, we're men of action, right? It's great to talk and to admire problems and to come up with these big ideas. But if you don't act on them, if you don't execute something, it's kind of a waste of time, in my opinion. I mean, it's great to have deep conversations, but if it's not driving you towards some kind of action or change in your life, then was it really that great of a conversation? And then after execution, there's going to be a period of account, right? We're going to hold each other accountable. So we're going to reflect on these ideas or these action items, these thoughts, whatever it is for that week. We're going to execute them. So if it's a why, you're going to write your why statement. You're going to come back to the group. You're going to share it with the group. And then we're going to hold you accountable to that. We're going to hold you accountable to implement those actions in your daily life and to see the change in those things that we reflected on and we're executing. And there's a power in that accountability. For me, the biggest changes in my life has always come through accountability with others. So that was a huge component that we wanted to add. And then the final week is a full implementation, and that ideally you carry that on and you're going to live it. That's what the L is. You're going to live it. And if you've reflected on something, you've executed an action that you're accountable in a group with, that should just become the norm. It should become part of your life. And that's the goal in being real.
Yeah. So, here's an example. We did a love challenge where we challenged each of the men in the group to basically write a list of things that you could do to show love to your spouse. And every single day you're supposed to do something that showed love based off of their love languages from that book that, the 5 love languages. And what's cool is we have basically a challenge board, and every person in the group writes down what they're doing on a daily basis. And what that does is it gives you ideas on other things to do. And so now we have this huge list of things that you could do to show love to your spouse that a lot of us men would probably never think of. But the power of a group, the power of holding each other accountable, the ideas, reflecting and then executing and then holding each other accountable and living it. Dude, now I take some of those ideas just on a regular basis and just execute and live, showing my wife how much I love her by just the small little things, like leave a note by her coffee cup in the morning with that "I love you," right? Like it's super easy, but a lot of us forget to do that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the stuff that we've been working on. And anyone in the mastermind group will have that resource to do forever, right? So it's super cool, man.
Yeah, I love it. And one thing we talked about the other week was, if our collective wives and children and friends aren't noticing a difference, then we're not really being real, right? Yeah. We're not really living these things. And ultimately, what's the point?
Yeah.
And so this group has been awesome. And because now it's on my mind. That's the other thing. Now it's on my mind when I'm talking to my wife or talking to my kids, and I think about this group. I'm like, would this be the moment that I would want to highlight to this group of men? Absolutely not. So what should I do to make it different? What can I do to make this a learning opportunity for myself and a sharing opportunity in the group to say, here's where I messed up, and here's what I did because I thought about all of you. Here's what I did to try to rectify my knuckleheadedness, and this is how it turned out. And that is the power of the group, knowing that I have to come back to it.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is pure gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So we leave this, we're going to leave this conversation with some questions for you as the listener. Question is, what will you do? Like, have you given yourself permission to truly reflect on what's most important in your life? And what answers did you come up with? Have you intentionally noted where you place your partner, your family, your friends, your purpose, your truth? And who are you on this journey with? It's some interesting questions that are pretty important.
Yeah. And do you reflect on, do you take action towards, are you accountable to, and do you live the priorities that you determine when you're in these moments, if you've taken the time to think through some of these questions? And I think that, it's, have you questioned, do you have a group of men that you surround yourself with that you feel comfortable being vulnerable with? because a lot of us don't.
Yeah.
And we don't even realize the power of being vulnerable. And so who is that? Who do you share those deepest truths with? Who is it that you surround yourself with to intentionally become better? And just as important, who are you having fun with? When's the last time that you had fun? And I'm not talking about just, going outside in the front, having a beer with a neighbor and having some conversation about the weather and gas prices and the economy. I mean, when's the last time you rekindled that fun that you had as a kid? You're out fishing, climbing mountains, playing paint gun wars, doing these things. Because I assure you, we've done these recently. And just because you get older, the fun does not go away.
Still
It
fun.
does not go away. It is still so much fun. And it is so liberating and freeing. And so I would just ask, who are you having fun with? Who are you who are you taking the time? And if it's your kids, I think that's also, I have a lot of fun with my kids. We're going to have fun with our kids today.
Yeah.
But it's different to surround yourself with men, to give yourself permission to separate from your families and to go out in the wild and do fun stuff.
Yep. So we're opening it up. We've been hanging out with this small group of men since February, and we've decided it's time to open this up to another group. And we're going to have small accountability groups, and we're going to open it up, to 20 to 30 people, but then we're stopping it for this first round. And so it's kind of a first come, first serve basis. And so if this sounds interesting to you, like let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. We're opening up our brand new website. There's a full page that is dedicated to this mastermind. There's going to be a button on there that says join now, apply here, schedule a call. And we're going to open this up right when this releases. And the first cohort, we're calling it House One. It is starting August 1st, and curriculum starts. There will be a group of men that are going to be meeting on a weekly basis, and they're going to get better. So if that's something that you're interested, reach out and let's talk.
Yeah, man, I love it. And I'm super excited about it because we created the Storehouse Mastermind to serve men who want to be their best, like us, right? We want to be our best. And ultimately you want to be your best so that you can be the best for those that you most love and that you want to serve the highest for those people, for your family, for your friends, and just the leadership element of that, just to really fulfill what we believe it means to be that kinetic man. And so we wanted this community that is absolutely dedicated to seeking the highest and best, but also fun, man. So I honestly cannot think of a better purpose, a more exciting proposition to give my life to. Not only being part of the group, but also just the absolute pleasure to be able to have started this group of men. And dude, I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see where it goes, man. I am hardly containably excited about what this group is going to be and what it's going to mean for not only my personal growth, very selfishly, especially for your growth, because there's a ton of room for your growth. With that. But dude, just seeing, we've gotten a glimpse in this initial small group of how much men can change and how powerful the relationships and bonds can be. And that's only going to become more amazing as we start our in-person meetups, which is, man, fired up. Yep. Fired up, Stu.
First in-person meetup will be here in Colorado because Colorado is awesome.
It is.
And we've targeted September for that. So, hey, if you're interested, there's going to be a link in the show notes for a direct application, and it's a limited number. It's going to be a small group of men that are going to join this House One. So don't wait if this sounds interesting to you. And yeah, what do you think? Let's do this.
Can't wait.
What would you say? Well, you said you consciously hardly can't wait. What was that you said?
Barely containably excited. I don't know. Man.
It
was in the moment.
Containably excited.
You gotta rewind it. You gotta rewind it. Put it in the show notes because I don't know. It's already gone. Squirrel.
All right. Hey, share this episode. Tell people about Storehouse Mastermind group, and hit that apply button. It's gonna change your life. Promise you, or at least you're gonna have fun.
But it will change your life.
And
Stu, you need to reapply because you may not actually get in. Just throwing it out there. All right. Go get it.
Go fill your storehouse.
Make it a great day, friends.
See you.
Thanks for listening to Filling the Storehouse. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe and share it with someone you love. And if you really felt inspired, leave a 5-star review so we could continue to grow and help other Christian entrepreneurs fill their storehouse. If you're interested in creating financial freedom through real estate investing, be sure to check out our website at storehouse310turnkey.com. We'd love to serve you through our platform of building the kingdom. Just click on the contact link and we'll reply to you as soon as we can. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go fill your storehouse and make it a great day.